Good morning, friends. It is a beautiful day on the kibbutz. I'm going to turn the camera so you can see. It's just so pretty. This is one of my favorite spots in the kibbutz. That used to be their old dining hall, and this is like a community center. And then you see there's like a little horse, and then right behind there's a playground for the kids, and you just hear the birds, and it's just so pretty here in this little spot. So I come here sometimes to do my quiet time. This morning, if you hear very loud boom, don't be concerned. They are doing some training exercises, I believe, because we're hearing really loud, much closer than it has been, booms, explosions, and then we can actually hear it hitting its target. And so they're just basically doing target practice, but with a really loud rocket launcher type thing. So it must be like, I don't know, almost like an RPG or so, I don't know. But they're not coming at us. They are just practicing because they're nearby. So do not be alarmed if you hear that. I wanted to just share about yesterday. It was such a cool day. We actually, the main guy that kind of runs this place, his name is Yahel. And I thought it was Yael, but that's apparently a girl's name. So I'm learning some things that they were saying it wrong. And so at any rate, he's Yahel. And he's a really nice man, carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders here. I mean, he's just carrying the weight of the whole kibbutz. And he's just a sweet fella. But we got to meet his daughter yesterday. And Galia is her name with a G, Galia. And she's 14, just your typical teenager. She was so cute. She came out in her pajama pants, and then they took us to the old railroad. It's beautiful. I have pictures and things of when the railroad used to come through here. And then they also took us down to, they called it the river. And he said, well, it's only a river like 3 times a year because it doesn't rain enough. But right now there's been enough rain that it was flowing. And so he showed us that. And then, oh, there you go. That's what I was talking about. No worries, I'm not in danger. And here in a little bit, you'll actually hear it hit. And so there's an orchard that we passed, and we stopped and we picked some, both clementine oranges, and there it was, that was the hit. And so we picked 2 types of oranges yesterday, really big, beautiful oranges, and then also the little baby, like the cuties is what we buy them as. And they're just so, it's just so awesome to be able to pick fruit off the tree and eat it, and just walking around, you know, you're just doing that. But then it was so special because Yahel he's not a man of faith. He does not believe that it is God that was prompting them or saving them. Certainly does not believe in Jesus. But I was able to share my story because a lot of you know probably, but not maybe everybody. And I'm taking off my watch. Hold on just a second. I have a tattoo on my arm, and it says, "I love you, Mom." And then it has a puppy on it. And the reason it has a puppy is could you see it? I don't even know if I'm showing it right. But at any rate, that's my tattoo. The "I love you, Mom" is actually Jake. That's Jake's handwriting. And when he was younger, like 10 or 12, he wrote just on a little bracelet and made it for me. It's just a little piece of paper with "I love you, Mom" on it. And so after he passed some years later, I went and had that bracelet. I just had them take a picture of his handwriting basically, and then they tattooed his handwriting on my arm with his birth flower, which for August it is the puppy. And so at any rate, I just thought it was so cool because as we were driving back, Yael stopped and found the puppies, and we weren't really scheduled to be with him, but we all felt and we prayed in the morning like we needed to just somehow kind of minister to him. And so part of that was we spent literally half the day with him and his daughter, him showing us around the kibbutz. And it really meant a lot to him. You could tell it meant a lot to him. And so then it was funny because we got over there with the puppies, and then I shared the story about Jake. And I think at that point he didn't know that I'd lost my son, but I was able to share that and share my tattoo and just say that that was his birth flower. And he himself, Yahel, said, well, see, this is where we were supposed to be today, or something like that. And so it's just so sweet, because I know that the Lord is giving us opportunities. They're going to eventually not believe that it's coincidence after coincidence. I know that the Lord is going to reveal to them that He's just at work. And so it's been a really cool, like yesterday was just a very laid back, I mean, we literally had the day off of working. We didn't work at all, but we got to tour the kibbutz and see their cemetery and just see just neat places. And he was able to share, some more about his story and his growing up here and the history of this kibbutz. And it was just so awesome. And getting to meet his daughter and spend some time with her was also really awesome. So, and then last night we went and had Shabbat dinner with some friends that one of our group members kind of knew, not really. Sorry, it's so bright. I'm going to turn just a little bit so I'm not looking directly. Now I won't be squinting at you so much. At any rate, we went and had Shabbat dinner, and at first it was just such an opportunity to pray. I'm not going to say the name of the group or anything, but it was just an opportunity to pray, because truly, when we got there, we were unprepared. We should have stopped and gotten some main protein meat. We picked up some desserts and we brought a ton of fruit from the orchard, but we didn't have a meal to bring with us. And when this particular Shabbat dinner, everybody is supposed to, it's like a potluck, everybody's supposed to bring their own. And so the pastor, kind of the lead of the Shabbat, was pretty frustrated. And in Israel, they're very direct. It's not it was funny. One of the girls last night was just saying that basically Israelis are rude, but they're not. That hasn't been our experience, but that's just how she was saying it. And she said they all act more polite when they're talking to Westerners. And so I just thought that was kind of funny, because I guess they're very direct. But you could just perceive in your spirit how frustrated he was that we hadn't brought food. So we just ordered some pizza, and we offered to take care of it. But it was so interesting. It just broke my heart, because it was just a reminder of how important our actions are when we're frustrated or when things don't go the way that we expect. So often, we let our emotions go and we get frustrated with people. And in it, we're not sharing the love of Christ. We're just not. And these are, Messianic Jews that we were having Shabbat with. And so it was interesting, because it just reminded me we've got to pray for our leadership. They're human too. So of course we're going to get frustrated. We're going to get frustrated with one another. But our response in that frustration is really important to people who are not believers, because we came to find out 3 or 4 of the people that were there at that Shabbat dinner were actually not believers. And so one of the women, she was the mama of one of the guys that was kind of, I don't really know. They just are affiliated. This leader is a leader of a different organization, but he just goes to this church, the local church there. And so they're not representing that group. He was just, leading the Sabbath prayer basically. But one of these other young guys that was there and his wife, they were beautiful, and his mom was there. Well, it turns out that they were sharing their testimony. And when I asked him, I said, okay, and how did your mom come to know about Jesus or believe? And he said she didn't, and she can understand English, and so she's sitting right there. And so he said, you can add her to your prayer list. And so, but then he went on and said, please also pray. She has a lot of trouble with her back. And so I was like, well, I can pray for that, because I have a lot of trouble with my back too. And so I told her, had the opportunity to tell her, well, every time that my back is causing me problems, I'm going to remember you in prayer. And her name is Vivi, Vivi, Vivi. And she was just the most precious woman. She was just so precious. And at any rate, here she is. And it's so important, our testimony before non-believers. And so it broke my heart, and I just had to actually step out. And I'm probably more tender this time of year anyway, just because, February 5th is quickly approaching, and we're on the 4th today, I believe. What is it? No, the 3rd. We're just on the 3rd. And so last night I just kept asking the Lord, what do you want from me? Because I was just so emotional about it. Like, I literally went to the bathroom, just kind of locked myself in the bathroom a minute and just was crying. And then I came out, and oh gosh, there's just so many other things I'm forgetting about this day. But one of the guys that's part of our group here with Firm, his name is Matthias, and he is from the Netherlands, and he's just this 19-year-old kid, just such a sweet boy. And so I've told him he reminds me of my kids, and he's told me I remind him of his mom, which is funny. And so then on the trip, I told him that he'll be my adopted son, and so he started, Mom, and he's joking with me like that, like, but Mom, and he's got this Netherlands accent. It's just so funny. And so I walked up yesterday, and he was near a puddle, and he was kind of almost jumping. And I said, how many times have I told you? And just the other members of the group just got so tickled by it. But it was also very precious. I'm kind of all over the map, but it's just, I'm trying to remember it all. And there's just so much that happens every day. It's hard to document it. But as we were out there by the poppies, and I had shared my story and shown my tattoo, and he actually, Mati, went and he picked me one of the poppies and he brought it to me. And so it was just, I'm telling you, it's just like so many little gifts of the Lord. Specifically, in the morning we just prayed for time with Yael to be able to minister to him, and we got that. And then we had prayed about having a Sabbath dinner, and we got that. And my heart was hurt because I was so looking forward to just a sweet fellowship, right? The unity of the brethren. And when we got there, the feeling was not unified because the pastor was so frustrated, and he got past it and he got beyond it. But I just went and I just cried and I prayed. And then as I had stepped around the corner because I came out of the bathroom because somebody knocked on the door. And then I was like, oh, so I got out of the bathroom and I just kind of went around the corner, and I'm standing there. Well, then Mati came around and he saw me, and he just was so filled with compassion because I'm sitting there crying, and are you sure you're okay? Please come get something to eat. And I was like, oh, I'm going to come get something to eat. I just need a few minutes to pray. And so then I just prayed some more. And then it was so sweet after that. This young couple with his mom invited me over. And so it's just, there's so many more parts to the conversation at dinner. And it ends up that this young guy and his wife is Tal, T-A-L. And, as I was sharing some of my story, he was like, your story is so similar to my wife. And he was saying that her mom also passed with cancer when she was 16. She was about to be, it was like a week before she turned 17. Well, with my mom, it was 2 weeks after I turned 17 that my mom passed. And so we exchanged information on WhatsApp and just got to, we just got to talk a little bit. But it's just so neat to know how God is putting these relationships together. He actually works at a publishing company, so I thought that was really neat. And there's just a lot of little gifts in all of this, and it's just so amazing to me. We came across the world, and it's funny because several spoke about the jealousy, how when we come over and we just are so in love with the Lord, it really does make them jealous for their God. And I've heard 3 different Jewish people say that while we are here. And so it's so interesting that just like the word says in Hebrews and in Romans, I believe, but for sure in Hebrews, it talks about how God has hardened the heart of the Jews until the full number of Gentiles comes in. And he's using us to make them jealous for their own God. And I just think I'm really seeing that in action. And just loving God and loving Jesus and what he did in and of itself is fulfilling the words of Scripture. And so it's so beautiful. And I'm so thankful to be here. I keep thinking about how uncommon this is to get to do something like this, and just the beauty of getting to be in this place, and especially over these days. And I'm missing my kids a lot. missing Rob a lot. I just am missing my family. But I know I'm supposed to be here, and so it makes it very, I have a lot of peace about being here. It's just, I wish I could bundle my whole family up and bring them here, because it is, there's little kittens everywhere, and my daughters would love that. And there's, men everywhere walking around in uniform and that are eager to talk to us. And so I know my boys would love that. And just even the hard work, there's just something about working hard here, really literally in the soil, and picking fruit from the trees and doing things. And I don't know, it's just an amazing experience. And all peppered throughout our days, we're getting the opportunity just to share the love of Christ, and then our testimony. And it's a really miraculous thing. And so please pray with me for Vivi, that she will accept Christ as Lord. I know her son was really moved whenever I said I'll pray for her every day. And so I just can't wait to hear testimony that she accepts Christ. I know she will, and I know the Lord is after her heart, but I don't know, it's just so sweet to even think about being invited into their story. So now I'm 16 minutes into this video. I love you all. Thank you for praying. It's beautiful here today. It rained really hard yesterday, but it's so pretty here today. And this is Shabbat. So it's going to be quiet. Everybody stays in their homes. But because this isn't really an Orthodox kibbutz, I imagine we'll see some families out. Yahel seemed to be really excited for us to meet some of the families here and talk to them. So yeah, please pray for opportunities to meet people and just be able to bear witness to why we're here and what Christ is doing. And yeah, that we would continue to have hearts that are open just to the love that we're bringing, and then ultimately to Jesus. Who knows if we're just going to plant the seed and someone else is going to water it, or if somebody else has already planted a seed and we get to be the ones that water. No matter what, we remember that Christ is the one that's going to bring it to fulfillment in his sweet time. So anyway, I love y'all. Shalom.